Good afternoon, and welcome to Share It. So, who knows what Share It is? You, you. That, yes.
It's students, they talk about a certain subject.
So, for me, Share It is to present something that you love about science and improve your communication skills in science. So today we are having 3 talks from BSc Biology and Chemistry. The first talk is from Ryan Sultana. Uh, this, this guy who extremely loves plants and insects. The Afro guy there. And the hairy guy under my... So, now let's begin from Ryan. Right? And the talk is about the green air tomorrow.
So, hi, thank you, Brendan. Today, my presentation is called Green Air Tomorrow. Well, most presentations have the word green in them, obviously. But mine has tomorrow. Why does it have tomorrow? Well, you will see that I will be talking about ways and means or new technologies that I believe, personally, that will change the next century. The next 100 years will be defined by these innovations. So, to begin with, there's the saying that says, in English, it says, the grass is always greener on the other side. And they use this to, it means that when you look on the other side of the fence, for example, if you look at your neighbor, you always see better things in him, alright? Like, for example, I don't know, he does something better than you do, and you try to strive to do something better. But I'm going to use this phrase to mean something different. For me, to achieve a greener future, we must look on the other side of the fence. That means that we must see or have a different perspective on our ideas, on the way we move forward. So, if we look beyond the fence, beyond this fence, we live on the earth. And outside, when you look at the planet from space, you only see a pale blue dot, the famous Carl Sagan photograph. The pale blue dot represents how fragile our planet is. And around this planet, when you see Earth from the outside, you only see darkness, you only see a lifeless void, an emptiness, and you realize how fragile our planet is. So what we do today will affect our future. The ideas that we come up with today will affect our future, and what we do tomorrow depends upon today. So to start, we need to come up with new ideas for a greener future, and the ideas must be simple. Now, some ideas must be simple, like, for example, when there's the air conditioner on and you leave the room, you turn it off. You see a light bulb that you're not using, you turn it off. These are all simple ideas. What I see here around us in the tents are simple ideas. But we have to be also ambitious. We cannot be scared to think a little bigger, okay? For whoever saw Inception. Do not be afraid to dream a little bigger, okay? So, most of all, we need to be positive. We need to have a positive outlook on what we're doing today and come up with something special. So the solutions to our problems, these ideas that we will be exploring, must come from the problems we face. And the problem we have, primarily, is an overgrown population, right? The world is suffering from climate change because of humans. And that's because there are 7 billion humans today. And if there weren't that much human beings, there would be no problems like this, all right? And so we must find solutions to these problems. And we also need to look beyond boundaries. That means we need to forget about politics. Now, if we're going to face, for example, climate change, we need to think beyond politics. It must be something which goes beyond this, all right? And beyond time. You need to think about your daughters and your grandsons, and you must think like, are they going to inherit something, a world which we inherited? Is it going to be worse or better? And we all must always strive to give them a better world. So, our problem, as I said, is a dying world. The only green in the universe we know of right now is Earth, of course. Earth is plentiful, it has provided us for millennia, but it's not infinite, and resources are running out. And we must maintain this balance. And reducing our impacts is ensuring our survival, of course. So, the 2000s, we don't have a name for the 2000s, we call it the 90s, the 80s, but now we're calling it the 2000s. It's actually a very spectacular time to live in. I'm very excited. When I see new, for example, I go on Facebook and I've liked certain pages, like I love science, you know, that's one, and new ideas pop up all the time. Well, every day there's something new. For example, they discovered a new cure for a certain cancer, or they've discovered a new innovative way to save energy. Those are amazing things, and they're happening right now. They didn't happen 100 years ago. 100 years ago, we didn't even have mobiles and the internet. So it's an exciting time. And these are my ideas for things that I believe will change the next 100 years. So first is cities in the skies. So any idea what it is? Maybe some of you have heard about this. No? Cities in the skies. I call them cities in the skies. So I will talk about these. Cities in the skies basically are skyscrapers that extend for hundreds of meters. They're huge, they're as big as this quadrangle in area, but they go up very high. And basically, they are self-sufficient. And they will replace, they are very important in our growing cities, to replace horizontal expansion, because nowadays cities always grow horizontally, but eventually we'll have to grow upwards to minimize our effects on the environment. We cannot go horizontally, keep growing horizontally, because the world is spherical and eventually we will meet the other end. So I will talk about that. And then there are automated electric vehicles. I really do believe this, that in the next 5-10 years, all our cars, or like, let's say half of them, will become electrical. There are already subsidies by the government for electric vehicles, but apart from being electric, there are also projects which are working to make cars automated. That means that they drive on their own. Cars actually drive on their own. You input the destination and it will take you where you want. Then there's this very ambitious plan to build a space elevator. What the heck is a space elevator? You will see. This is the most exciting part. And there's also asteroid mining. You will think this is very far-fetched, but I will show you that it's not. So first to begin with, cities in the skies. What are cities in the skies? So, when we were just chimpanzees and we hadn't evolved yet, we used to live in forests. Okay, and forests have trees which grow upwards. Now, we've destroyed a lot of our jungles and forests, and we've built skyscrapers, houses, buildings that go upwards. So, when you look at Manhattan, for example, you see our skyscrapers jutting into the sky, and these are our new forests. But trees grow up, and they evolved to keep growing up. They evolved to compete with their surroundings and grow up. So why not build our skyscrapers to grow even taller? So right now, in Malta, for example, we build on 2 floors mainly, okay? And we only have very few skyscrapers. But imagine skyscrapers which can extend 300 meters into the air. So if you look up there, you can see the clouds. And imagine a skyscraper that extends as high as those clouds, okay? And I will talk about the benefits of that. So first of all, it will reduce our encroachment on the environment. It will reduce our extension horizontally, as I've already said, to minimize destruction of the environment. And they will also be self-sufficient. nowadays there are innovative ways to grow food, not using sunlight. Well, if you're in a room and you don't have sunlight, you can actually use only water, nutrients, and normal lamps, white bulbs, okay? And you can grow food. And with these innovative ways, we can build a self-sufficient skyscraper, which grows food, which can collect water from the air, from the mist, and you will not need anything else to come from the outside. Okay, so you will not require the need to transport food to your skyscraper, reducing as well the costs of transport. So here I brought two pictures, which you will not clearly see, but you can find these on the internet. And this is called the Endless City. This is an actual concept, a concept in London. Ground floor area has already been bought to build the skyscraper. It extends 300 meters tall. Here there are the other the tallest building in London is also 200 meters, okay? But it's only offices and such. But this is not only a skyscraper that takes the area of this quad, okay? It takes the area of this quad multiplied by 5-6 times. It's huge, it's wide, but it also goes up. And it's made of ramps, imagine ramps. And each floor is a different environment. There are parks in this skyscraper, parks on one floor, shopping areas on another, farms or on another, houses on the next, and each level is different. And the middle is hollow, so sun can actually come in, and it's very self-sufficient. And it houses around 10,000 people. Imagine a skyscraper that houses as much people as Bricker Car, right? And it's a complete ecosystem. So you can find this on the internet. It's called an Endless City, and it's an actual concept. Next are automated electric vehicles. Why automated? They are driverless cars, okay? You don't have a steering wheel, you don't have pedals, they drive on their own. And these are eyes for the blind and feet for the impaired. Why? Because if you're a blind person, you can actually go into the car, talk to it, and it will take you wherever you want. But you don't have to do anything. So this is a benefit this is a disabled people, right? For example, if you cannot walk, you go in a wheelchair in the car, this will take you where you want. You don't have to drive yourself. They are safer, they react faster to stimuli, right? If the car sees a person crossing the road, it will brake immediately. It doesn't have to be processed by a brain. Also an idea that if you get all the electric vehicles and connect them all together into one server, and they can communicate with each other, they know where the traffic is, and so they take different routes, and you will never have traffic. Alright, imagine Malta without traffic, because all these cars will actually know all the roads that there are traffic in. They are connected to a server and it will take them where they want. And also they have no pollution because they are electric. So this is a picture of a Google's self-driving vehicle. And this is an actual vehicle. It's already in use, so it already exists. This is a vehicle that drives on its own, okay? And it exists. There's a video on the internet, you can go find it. There's actual funds for this research and development. There are competitions worldwide which give around a million or 10 million, I think, prize money to the person that has an automated vehicle which completes a circuit in a desert, for example, so not only roads. There are competitions for this. And this, as I said, have all these benefits, okay? So next are space elevators. This is the cool stuff. I call it the stairways to heaven. It will reduce transport costs of spaceships. Nowadays we have the International Space Station orbiting around our planet, and people live there continuously, right? 24/7. And to go, for example, on the moon, you must spend millions of dollars, millions. And if we have a space elevator, it will take around, for example, $300. Why? Because rockets need fuel to exert power to go against gravity, and that fuel is very costly. And if you have something, a lift, an elevator, which extends from the Earth to space, you will just have to lift the rocket up until it's in orbit, and then you can leave it. There's no air resistance, just okay. So how is this possible? It's possible by carbon nanotubes. I'm sure you've heard of this already, most of you are chemistry students, so you know what carbon nanotubes are. Nowadays they only make them in centimeters, okay, or millimeters, but in the next 15 years we will extend these to 100 meters, and if you, 2 meters. And if you wove them together, you can create ropes, okay, which extend meters and meters and meters. And these are 10 times more structurally sound than steel. Alright, steel can break with tension and pressure, but nanotubes are far more strong. And you can extend these to, for an elevator, space elevator, you need to extend these for 96,000 kilometers. Alright, you need to have a rope, or at least that's the minimum you need to have, that extends 96,000 kilometers into space. For perspective, Earth is 284,000 kilometers. The moon is 284,000 kilometers from Earth, so that's a lot further. But the International Space Station is just 330 kilometers. So if we have an elevator that goes only 330 kilometers, that's already very green, right? Very energy efficient. This is a picture of an actual concept which a Japanese company called Obayashi Corporation envisions for 2050. And the only thing they need are funds for research and funds to build it. They have the technology and the know-how to already do this, right? The only problem are political problems, political barriers, and money. But if different countries work together, we can do this. And the last one is asteroid mining. Why farm asteroids? Well, planetary resources are limited, but asteroid resources are almost limitless. There are thousands of asteroids circling the Earth. We know of at least 1,000 which are closer to the Earth than the Moon, and these have precious minerals, alright? They also have water on them, which with electrolysis you can provide to oxygen and hydrogen, which is used as fuel for rockets. It could also help advanced scientific research because there are precious minerals such as platinum and radium and a lot of other things, rare metals which are very, very expensive on Earth, but these have a lot, and these metals are used in apparatus and research. It will also nullify the damage on Earth from mining operations. Mining operations destroy habitat, quarries, and turning the Earth destroys everything. So these will help nullify that damage. So this is what asteroid materials, what minerals there are in asteroids. It includes hydrogen, which is like 17,000 times more abundant on the asteroid. And the most important are, for example, rhodium and palladium and platinum are around 200,000 times more abundant on an asteroid than on Earth. There are more platinum on one asteroid than there was mined on Earth in the entire history. And if you think this is far-fetched, NASA has actually spent a lot of its budget to send a probe, which it sent to intercept an asteroid, and it's actually taking pictures to see if it can land it. The next mission will probably be on Mars, but asteroids are the next thing, right? We went to the moon, our next thing is to go to an asteroid. If we manage to harvest and mine an asteroid, you will be so much benefit, so much minerals, that it's too much. I mean, then there are ethical issues, of course, but this is the way forward for a greener tomorrow. So I end here, and remember, the grass is always greener on the other side. You need to think ahead, and it is our goal to go into a greener tomorrow. These are the new ideas that we must pursue. So thank you, thanks very much.
Thanks for the clean world. I'm Faisal. I'm here as part of S-Cube's sharing campaign, and I'd like actually to give a big thanks to S-Cube for the opportunity, of course. and really S cubed. You know, a lot of good people, a lot of good hearts. We're all scientists, all studying, doing our particular research and trying to further our field. But if you think about it, everything can be used to create a cleaner world. Each particular field can help out in that regard. Well, up until we get this PowerPoint going, not that there's much info on it, but S-Cube are having some really cool smoothies. If you haven't tried one, so go for that. They've been making them all day. Yeah, thanks. Okay, no PowerPoint, will you? It's okay, it's okay. Another big thanks goes to KSU for organizing this week, these 3 days of greenery around campus. Hope it happens every year because it's quite cool. I'm loving this. So let's start. My name, as I said, is Faisal. I'm here representing Let's Do It. It's an environmental movement across the world, and we brought it to Malta, and our stand is right there. If you haven't seen us yet, talk to either me or Julian. And Let's Do It will actually be participating in S-Cubed annual seminar coming this November. The seminar is between the 7th and the 9th, and if you're coming, we'll be giving a workshop on the 8th of November. It's very exciting. I'm really looking forward to engaging students in this kind of sustainability. Getting you thinking is one of the most important things that we can do whilst we're at university. Okay, well, without further ado, here are the 10 steps for a clean world. The first step is really very simple, it's very effective, is don't trash on the ground. Don't throw trash away, don't throw trash illegally. The ground, the beaches, the seas, we don't have rivers, but if we had rivers, if we had lakes, these are not places where trash is meant to be, so avoid that. It's very simple, it's very basic, but you kind of have to start with the very basics. So that's the first step. The second step is something that Simon Kurmi from WasteServe mentioned yesterday, and it's that we have to sort our trash. When it comes to recycling, when it comes to making compost, it's very important that the trash we make in our homes is not only put in one place, but it's separated in a way that the people who are dealing with it can deal with it effectively. And you know what's in your trash. You can say, hey, these things are recycling, so I'll put them in a recycling bin. This is compost, organics mostly should go in a compost bin. If you don't have one yet, just have a small bin, and I'll get to the compost bin later. But it's a very important step for a clean world, sorting. The third step, quite hipster, I think, is to fix and reuse the things you have. If you don't throw things away, but if it's something is broken and instead of throwing it away, you fix it, or you find a different way to use it, it will prevent that thing from landing in a landfill. It will directly change that thing's production line. So it involves a bit of creativity, it involves a lot of ingenuity. You have to be smart to kind of try this kind of thing, but it's very hip, as I'm saying. It's kind of hipster, so go for it and enjoy whatever art comes out of it. Luckily, we don't have a lot of the next step in Malta. The next step is don't burn trash. And sometimes you need to point this out to government. We don't have this yet, but in case this government, the next government, anyone really comes up with this great idea to burn trash, the answer is no. You're just making that problem, that environmental problem, into a health catastrophe. Lung cancer, MRSA, there's a lot of very bad things which can happen with incineration. So as much as possible, let's push for burning of trash. Another important thing, which I already mentioned before, is compost your food leftovers. It's really easy to have a really small bin bag for food, and to just put the food items in there, and then maybe speak to your local council and see if they can deal with it effectively. Speak maybe to farmers in your local area, to whoever is dealing with your trash, and let them know, hey, I'm going to start having a compost bin. If it's not just you, if it's your neighbors as well who are doing it, some of you gotta speak to your parents and tell them, hey, we should totally do this. I can do it myself, it's just a bin. And I'll go speak to our neighbors and see if it can happen. If you're living in a complex flat, see if you can make a communal compost. And maybe you can grow tomatoes or mint, or if you're Irish, you can grow potatoes. And it's a very cool way of making something out of your food instead of just throwing it away. Step number 6 is consume as much as you need, no more. This is something that we have a big problem with, especially in Malta, especially with free items. We like getting free stuff, but sometimes you need to learn to say no, especially when the things which you are being given you have no use for. If you have 6 pens, then the 7th one really is not necessary. If it's just going to go somewhere and sit somewhere, then it's useless. It's like this for food, it's like this for clothes, it's like this for everything we consume. And we like stuff. I think it's part of our human nature to want things. But sometimes you really don't have to. There's only photos and pictures in it. Thanks. Really, consume only as much as you need. It's the 21st century. There's not going to be 6 friends who are suddenly going to come over to your house and you've run out of beer. They're going to text you before, they're going to call you. You're going to let them know, hey, I was shopping only for myself. We only have 2 cans of cheese. Just go to the supermarket, bring a 6th can while you're coming. You don't need to stock 24 cans, unless it's cheaper, in which case, okay. But something which is especially with technology, is a real hipster, an environmental hipster, can wait for the new iPhone. If you have a working phone, you don't need the new iPhone, especially if it's bendy and stuff. So wait to consume. Think, do I really need this? Do I really need to put this money here? Or maybe I should put it in something not even greener, but something that I really need. Think before and plan. So the next step is something which happens a lot. It's avoid disposable products. And it's something which you see a lot, of course. Plastic bags, plastic cups, a lot of plastic items. I'm not saying plastic is the enemy, but when you make plastic, when you produce plastic for single use, you know that this item is going to end up in the trash. You can effectively prevent that by planning for it. So if you're working, if you're studying, if you want a cup of coffee, bring your mug, ask that your department has a kettle, and bring some coffee and make a mug of coffee. And all you have to do afterwards is clean your cup and there's 1 less cup. But if everyone did that, on this campus there's already 30 less cups. Imagine taking it over to the whole world. So that's just mugs. Then there's bags while going shopping. This is something which, on a trip to Estonia, I really noticed I didn't even think about. Sometimes you go shopping for vegetables, and there'll be these single-use plastic bags which you put vegetables in, you'll weigh them, then you go home, then you just tear the bag apart, put the stuff in the fridge, and then you cook it. Well, what if you actually had a paper bag when you go shopping? Or a textile bag, a small bag, which you can put 6 cucumbers in and say, hey, this is what I want to buy. It has to be light, because otherwise they're charging you for the fabric of the bag or the paper bag itself. But if you plan, hey, I'm going to go shopping, I'm going to buy tomatoes, I'm going to buy onions, tell your parents this. I'm sure most of you guys don't actually do your shopping. But, just tell them, hey, take some bags. You cannot use plastic. A water bottle, a lunchbox when you're coming here, just think of long-term solutions. A lunchbox, a Spider-Man lunchbox, you'll be the coolest person on this campus if you have a Spider-Man lunchbox. Nobody, the taftira and these plastic cling film is gonna they're gonna look at you and they're gonna be jealous. Okay, so find your cousin who thinks he's too old for his Spider-Man lunchbox and take it from him and make it your own. Or Hello Kitty, not being sexist. Okay, step number 8 is buy trash-free products. It's funny, Ryan actually mentioned Inception, and there's these things, these products. You go and buy a pack of earphones, and it's an inception of packaging. It's like a plastic bag in a plastic hard thing, and then there's a paper thing inside, and there's so much packaging. And the argument against that is, hey, you know, these things are there so people don't steal the item. But if you tell the store, hey, what I want is the earphones, you know, you can keep the packaging. If you go to the store, you buy a pack of earphones, you grab the scissors, you take out all the packaging, and you leave it there. Other customers have seen you do that. They know that you are against packaging. And I'm not saying, hey, be rash and be radical and make these really pronounced statements. No, it's when you buy something, make sure you buy it with the least packaging you can buy it, if possible. This is something which I see in clubs a lot. You buy a drink and they'll give you a straw. Now come on, most guys don't need straws, and most women, okay, maybe you'll have your lipstick on, and you'll need that straw to not get your lipstick off. But if you can avoid the straw, you know, that's already one less straw. So think, plan. Okay, we've already got into step 9, which is support environmentally friendly legislation and action. This is where we have to think not about what our life is like, but what about the broader system is like. This is where we have to think of the farmers next door. If you're living in a rural village, it's easier probably to go to the farmer at the end of the street, or someone who produces, the direct producer of whatever commodity you need. If you need to get potatoes, honestly, there's farmers probably all over Malta who just sell potatoes. And if you don't live in these areas, I know for a fact, because I asked my dad, hey, when is it? Every Saturday and every Tuesday at Ta'ali, between 6:30 and 1 p.m., 6:30 in the morning. I don't know if anyone wakes up that early, but you know, you can just go there and there's a farmer's market, and it's bliss. I've been there, you know, it's just vegetables on trucks, and they're all there, they're all fresh. You can buy it directly from whoever produced it, and it's great. And you know, you gotta say, I care, and the people around me do as well. And the people in power, maybe they need a bit of prodding, a bit of poking, some pestering, but they you know, they need more votes, they need to prod them and pester them. They will look for ways to make a more clean world. You know, they will help you. If you let them know, hey, I think this might work better if we do this and we do that. If things are different, I think they might be better. And see what happens, you know? Step number 10, the last step, is cooperate with others by suggesting alternatives. This is where we have to, you know, play our part in the bigger system. It's where we have to bring sustainability wherever we go. We have to be active, we have to think, and we need to speak up, and we need to make our environment better. And it's not even only our natural one. The natural environment is great, but it's the people who affect the environment. It's no longer the trees and the sun and the abiotic factors and the biotic ones. No, nowadays it's people who directly affect the world around us, the environment. So we can make people healthier, mind-wise, body-wise, spirit-wise, whatever it be. If we can make people healthy, we can make the environment healthy. So if your area of expertise is in the environment, if you can make people smile, then do that. You are being active in society. That is helping out. Be a volunteer, you know, join an NGO, start an environmental company, you know, make money out of making a green product, making a service that is green, that people will buy. You'll help yourself, you'll help the community at large, and it will broaden the environmental field. And let's stop this talking about who slept with who, and instead focus on you know, discussing the efficiency of public transport or the latest United Nations Environment Protocol meeting. You know, smart talk gets you laid more often. So, you know, just a suggestion. All it takes really for these kind of environmental things is a bit of planning, a bit of foreseeing, a bit of thinking of and planning, and you get there. You know, ride a bike, start a carpool, have a shopping list. It's amazing how much having a shopping list will help you not consume more than you need. and don't buy extra. Remember, the government is there to support, but it's the people who make choices. Find a sustainable way to make money. And as I said, help yourself and help the community. And open your mind to the broader system. It's no longer us and our family in our village. Nowadays, it's me, my family, my community, and our world. It's a globalized world, and we have to move towards globalized systems of taking care of the environment, of taking control of our lives. So think about the bigger thing. Think, plan, and be active. If I've repeated something enough, it's that. Think, plan, be active in whatever you do. Sustainability requires long-term solutions over short-term benefits. You have to think about the long term, okay? It's, coming here today, I needed a cup of coffee to make this happen. So the short-term benefit was a cup of coffee in a plastic cup. I had to do that. But had I planned well enough, I would have gotten a mug with me, and I would have, had I not been late. But plan ahead, and wake up on time. Alright, so that's pretty much been the 10 steps and some motivational mumbo-jumbo here and there to get you joined. Remember that there's the S-Cubed Science Seminar between the 7th and 9th. Let's Do It will be there, I'll be there. I'd love to discuss all these things which I love doing. I hope you can come there. I don't think it's only restricted to people from the science faculty, right? If it is? It isn't. Awesome. If you are from science faculty or not, just the S-Cubed stand is right there. So give me 5-10 minutes, or let's wait for Alex to have his talk, and then if you want to join us at the Let's Do It stand or talk to me personally, just give me 10 minutes to chill out, and I'll be very happy to talk to you about it. Okay, thanks for listening.
So I'm actually going to start with a green thing. This is a green apple, which they're serving over there. I'm actually holding it because I'm really hungry. And this is my motivation not to bore you to that. So I'll try to do this as fast as possible. It's going to stay here. So why did I choose this title? Why green that is not green? In actuality, we'll be talking about green stuff, but from a different perspective. There you go. So, I don't know if everyone can see it, but that's a picture of the Amazon forest. It's one of the densest, species diverse areas on the planet. It has an extremely high species intensity. There are a lot of animals, plants, flora, fauna, everything you can imagine can be found there. However, it's not the only place in the world that's so rich. Even what looks barren can be so rich in different species, can have so many things in it that are nice and beautiful if you just look closely enough. And that comes to the Mediterranean. Here, this picture I put because of one of our lecturers in biology, who has this joke. That's a maki habitat. He said that during the war, there was a group of soldiers in Corsica who just hid there, guerrilla warfare, holding back the Nazis, yay. They haven't been out since. They've been lost in there because it's such a dense place. It's not large trees or anything, it's just foliage all over the place. So they're lost in there. They still sometimes come out, shoot some missiles, and go back in. They don't know the war's over quite a bit. But hopefully they'll learn soon. This is a map of the Mediterranean. As you can see, over here you have the Northern African border, Sahara Desert, you have European, and Asia. You have 3 continents divided by a sea. The sea, it's not that big. What you also can realize is the number of islands, huge number of islands. What does this cause? It causes diversity. If there was one species, and let's say the water level rose, and the species was, for example, I don't know, Sicily was connected to Italy, water level rose, the species was isolated on Italy and on Sicily. Give it some 20,000, 30,000 years, eventually it starts differentiating. Give it a millennia, it's a completely different species. Why? Because it didn't integrate with the other part. It evolved on its own path. And this is what happened. This is why in the Mediterranean we have almost 22,500 plants which are endemic to the Mediterranean. They're not found anywhere else in the world. And please note, the Mediterranean is a small fraction of the planet. It has almost 4 to 5% of the planet's plant population, species population. It's found in Mediterranean environments. Can you notice something over here? Those who can see, mostly there. Compare this to this. What's the difference? You, over there, bearded dude. Come on. It's greener, exactly. However, it doesn't mean it's any less rich in species. What you see here is sparse trees which are growing with quite distance away from each other. However, in between, what you can notice is these things, these kinds of environments, the garrigue, the steppe. If you look at it at first glance, you say, "Ugh, there's nothing here. We can just build a road, let's build a house, anything." However, if you look closer, if you get a magnifying glass, and you look at the crevices, you find so many plants, so many species. And trust me, I did not believe this myself. I remember going to the field biology practical and like, oh, here we go again, nothing to see, nothing to do. We had the biology guidebook and the lecturer told us, look for these things. We had a magnifying glass, we were just looking around. I was impressed. Over the course of 2-3 hours, we found 40-50 different plants, and I'm just staying in an area the size of Quad. This was amazing for me. That's why I'm speaking about this to do. The stereos doesn't like me. That's why I'm speaking here today about it, because I was boggled by the amount of richness we have in Malta. And keep in mind, oh boy. So Windows decided to do a Windows update. I'm afraid I cannot change that, so I'll keep speaking. I had a picture of fields, cultivated fields. In Malta, because we've been living here so long, humans have been living here so long, this caused the species richness to reduce. Because let's say we have a field here. It's filled with wild plants, hashish hazin, we say in Maltese. Then we mow them away and put wheat. You've destroyed possibly tens and dozens of different plant species. Yes, we needed the wheat to live, and that is understandable. Malta is a very small island. We've been living here 10,000 years or so. That caused the destruction of a lot of the species. In fact, the most endemic species we have are found on the cliffs, because we do not use the cliffs for any cultivation of anything. You go to Sicily, you go to Crete, other islands around the Mediterranean, which haven't been that densely populated. You see extremely high levels of endemic species just living there, nowhere else in the world. Why does this happen? It happens because the species have been isolated from the rest. It doesn't necessarily mean it's an island. It can be a mountain. It grows on top of the mountain. It's a different species on the top than on the bottom. We have this that we need to protect. We need to protect the species diversity. Let me go closer to you guys. We have this species diversity which we need to protect. And to protect it, it's not just saying, okay, we're going to plant 100 or so of these things. It doesn't work like that. Trust me, I sort of tried last year. I've tried planting 60 trees and plants endemic to Malta. And I can say I spent hours digging holes and trying to put the plants in, and they didn't all survive. However, the idea is, before we do something, we appreciate what we have. We cannot say, oh, look at the Amazon, it's so beautiful, let's take care of it, let's save it. Why not do it the same for here? Why not save areas in Malta, save areas in the Mediterranean? Appreciate for what they are. Oh, I'm afraid I actually forgot what was on the last slide, which I think was a picture of Busquet, which is actually a beautiful, gorgeous place in Malta. We should have more places like them, not necessarily packed with trees, because Busquet is not just about the trees. There are garrigues, there are other habitats there, which are just as beautiful, just as nice to walk through. And when they're in full bloom in spring, wonderful, gorgeous. Anyway, that's my green, that's not green. And actually, it's talking about different kinds of green that we have, different shades of green. I should have said 50 shades of green, interesting. Anyway, I'm rambling now, and that's the end of my presentation. If any one of you has any questions to me, to Ryan and to Faisal, and he wants to talk about the apple, which he's eating, I think, you can eat all of that, you know. It's quite nutritious. Yes.
Alex,
Yes, go ahead.
can you sort of talk about more practical ways on how to save these invisible species, so to speak?
They're not invisible species, they're rare species, they live. To save them, it's simply just looking for them. It's just simply making people aware of their existence. People aren't aware of their existence, so they won't save something that they don't know about. However, if they know about something and appreciate it, they won't destroy it.
And to follow up on that, you just said that you should appreciate. So I'd like to justify if someone from here in Quad listening to this today should spend an hour volunteering to help, I don't know, sick people in Africa, or an hour to sort of protect ants which are foresee but useless. So how would you justify that?
Okay, quite simple. I did not tell you to spend an hour protecting them. I don't want you to go actively protecting them because, as I said, it's extremely hard. However, if you're walking in the countryside, if you're walking through somewhere by the sea, and you decide, you know what, I want to know what's here, and you just look and take a moment to appreciate what's actually there, you can find things which will open your mind. I once found an orchid which I didn't know existed at the time. I was 17, I was just doing my A-levels. And I just saw something and said, okay, I'm going to check it out. I thought it was a piece of plastic. It was an orchid in the shape of a bee kind of orchid or something, I don't know the name. However, I was just like, wow. You know how big it was? The size of my thumb. It was just there, just in the middle of other vegetation. I just managed to see it. If you just look, this is the message I want to give you guys today. If you're outside in the environment, just look around you. You will see so much beauty. You don't need to travel 6,000 miles to the Amazon. You no need to travel to the north, to the big forest, the Black Forest. I mean, you can, because they're nice as well, but we have nice things here, so we should appreciate them just as much. We all, not we, I can say from experience, a lot of people say, oh, we don't have anything nice. We do have things which are nice, we just don't know how to see them, because we aren't trained, they are the background for us. But sometimes when you look at the background, you see a deeper 3D section of it. Basically, she asked, why is it important for the diversity? Well, there are two things. One, you don't like to see the same thing repeated over and over and over and over again. People like diversity. People like to see different things. It's relaxing, actually. If you see a production line, the same plant all over and over again, it's bad for you. Globally, this global thing, we live basically on around 10 species of animals and plants. Our bread, cows, pigs, they're all the same species. However, there are more than just the species of pig which is available commercially. There are boars, there are black pigs, yellow pigs, white pigs, orange, violet, I don't know. I never see them. However, the fact that you have different kinds of species allows you for diversity. A very classic example is the banana. There was the old banana, which nowadays you only find in the flavor of sweets. When you taste banana sweets, you know those yellow ones which are in the shape of banana, taste of really artificial banana. Actually, it's not artificial banana. It's an actual banana species which is almost extinct because of a disease it got. What happened? They turned to the Cavender banana, which we use today. Cavender, I'm not sure. It's on the Think magazine. And they turned to use this one because it's more resistant to different diseases. Now they're looking away to improve its resistance to another disease which is taking over. How are they doing that? They're looking at other species which are found in Thailand, in Indonesia. They're looking at species of banana which live there and see what they can use from their DNA, which is genetically modifying them. However, they're only modifying them genetically by crossbreeding. That kind of diversity, which is important for us, because it will give us a backup plan. If there's a disease that infects all the cows in the world, we'll end up without beef. And if we end up without beef, McDonald's won't open, Burger King won't open, the restaurant won't open, the butcher will go, oh my god. These things happen, and happened a lot. We had the foot and mouth disease in the cows in the 70s, which destroyed entire farms, livelihoods, gone in minutes. Because these diseases, we depend on one species. We depend on a very limited amount of organisms. If we broaden our perspective, we are less likely to fall in that mistake. Does that answer you?
Exactly, that we asked him for, actually I was thinking about writing a book about this, so you're just increasing my, ideas. Anyway, okay, good question. Well, cities in the skies are developing, so they are not actually present right now. So until we build them, the world would have already changed a lot. Right now we are already almost like enclosed on our mobiles, on our devices. So if you're asking me, you're going to be like imprisoned in a in a skyscraper all your life, you're going to be born there. Well, we're almost already at that stage. Okay, the social effects of living in a skyscraper all your life depends on other factors, not just like the skyscrapers. For example, how are we going to change our social network behavior? For example, I don't know, maybe virtual reality will become a thing in those years. Like if you go outside, go on a virtual reality projection and you experience it through that. So if you see it just because you're going to be born in a skyscraper and die there, it doesn't mean that for that person in 100 years it's going to be strange. It was strange for our parents to experience internet and social networks, and for them they believe that we are like not normal. We're not normal. We're like imprisoned on our devices. Does that mean that that's wrong? Well, depends, you know. So, but the skyscrapers themselves, they're not. They're self-sufficient, okay, but it doesn't mean you cannot go elsewhere. But and if you're saving the environment by growing upwards and living in the skyscraper, that means that you will actually have more, for example, more wild areas that you can go in. So if you're minimizing the horizontal encroachment to a point and you build upwards, then that area is going to become greener. So then you live in a skyscraper, but you can actually visit the other parts. So it's actually a benefit, not the social part. Is that